welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra, and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. Well, the markets are cheering record high levels. The index finally managed to cross and also close above the mark of 23,500 as of yesterday, something that it was failing to do so in the entire series thus far. In fact, the Nifty has now gained in the last 8 out of the last 9 trading sessions consecutively for the last 4 trading sessions. It has also recovered 2,300 points from the June 4th low of 21,281 as well. For yesterday's performance, however, the Nifty has to thank the Nifty Bank and the private banking stocks. The financials finally put up their hands in what has been a month of underperformance for the index, but the two banking heavyweights, HDFC and ICICI, contributing maximum gains on the Nifty as of yesterday. Now, apart from this, it was the defense theme that continued to outshine, with many stocks like Paras Defense clocking in another 20% upper circuit. HAL continued on a record spree as well, and even the shipbuilder stocks that continue to gain to newer heights as well. The big question now is that will the banks be continuously participating in the markets, and will they aid a decisive Nifty move towards 24,000? Good morning to all our viewers, and good morning, Shail.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are right in the middle of the week, Wednesday, 19th of June. It's the weekly expiry day of the Bank Nifty, which has performed excellently over the last 5 trading sessions. Yesterday's close was well above 50,400, and that's a very big plus. Let's begin our day's journey with seeing the most favorite stock and the most favorite chart of all times, which is the Nifty daily chart. As Sakshi pointed out, 23,550 is with the bulls, and after great effort of last week, in which the index rose 0.9%, the previous peak 7.2%, bulls managed to capture 23,400 for themselves. 23,500 was really very easy. This is the graph that's right there in front of you. Now let us look at how momentum is spread. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now getting used to the gap up. Even today, the gap up is to the extent of about 80-90 point, as GIFT Nifty futures are pointing out. Now, the problem after the gap up is that the gap up does not sustain for the first 15-20 minutes, and therefore it gets into a trading range kind of a situation. Yesterday, Nifty's gap up was more than 100 points. It retraced a large part of that gap up from the day's low and then closed 90 points higher. So don't chase this gap up, it happens. Just wait for an opportunity for the gap to be filled, and from the base, whether it's 27, 300, 350, 400, 450, then we'll take a call from then on. Nevertheless, what's really exciting in the markets is that there is a net short that FIs had to the tune of about 3,11,000 contracts. That's stopped and dropped dramatically. Now only 12,000 index contracts are short, and that's also visible on the FI number. The actual number will be given by Sakshi for yesterday, but over the last 4 trading sessions, FIs have been positive, and to the extent of about 9,500 crores have been invested in net Indian purchases. Now, what is also good is overseas cues. You see the US 10-year yield dropping substantially, now at 2-month lows. You see a very, very mild move on the dollar index, and of course gold is quiet. The only thing that's buzzing, and buzzing very strongly from overseas cues, is Wall Street. Details will be given by Sakshi. Record close on Nasdaq, as also on the S&P 500. Nvidia at a record high, and crude oil. That's a bit of a worry. Above 200 DMA, highest since 30th April. But we'll see the positives in crude oil and focus on 2 stocks: Oil India plus ONGC. So keep those in mind. Now comes the most critical part. Banking, as Sakshi pointed out, is one of the finest corporate pillars in India, but sadly stocks haven't done anything. But from what delivery statistics I see for yesterday on HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Axis and SBI, I will update them on my Twitter handle. Those are dramatically improving, and that goes on to show that the outperformance of the Bank Nifty will continue, even though it is likely to be quiet today. What is more important, ladies and gentlemen, is this incessant flow of large transactions. There will be 4 today. Hold your breath. Indus Towers, 1.1 billion stake to be sold by Idea Cellular parent Vodafone PLC for about 8,000 crore rupees. In fact, much more than that. $1.1 billion is the size of the transaction. 10% stake sale is likely to happen on Indus Tower. Similarly, Sansera Engineering, about this transaction size is about 11.6% of equity, 750 crores, and this is at a 5% discount to yesterday's closing price of 12.11. Gland Pharma, 82 lakh shares will be sold, 5% equity at about 1750 per share. And of course, ZFCV India, this is an auto ancillary parent, Vapco Asia will sell 5% stake at 14,980 per share. Remember, all these 4 stocks over the last quarter, 3 months, have performed fairly well. Sensera is up 24%, Indus Towers 38%, Gland Pharma 2.7%, 11.4% is the uptick for the last 3 months in ZFCV. So keep these 4 stocks in mind. And Sakshi, we'll keep an eye out on fertilizer stocks. There is a June 22nd GST meeting. The voting patterns of the national elections just held talk to rural distress, and therefore there is this move or news or hope that fertilizers will be removed from the GST ambit, and that 5% extra GST that is put onto the cost of fertilizers, that will be removed. Again, defense and PSUs and private banks, ladies and gentlemen, will be in thick of trade. So for me, don't chase the gap up as far as Nifty is concerned. Wait for the slide to happen and then get in. Nifty is very, very strong. All resistance levels at 23,600, 650 and 700 are weakening, and that shows the uptick that is there. And there is very, very strong support coming in at 23,500, 23,550 and of course 23,450, 23,400. So bears are weakening on the resistance level and bulls are getting strong on the support level. That's the story of the day. Don't chase the gap up and wait for a slip on the Nifty to get in. And of course, defense, PSU stocks, private sector banks, public sector banks, and of course these 4 shares that I talk about. Sakshi, what details on Wall Street and the FII update?
Overnight in the US, viewers, the equity markets ended higher, with the Nasdaq logging its 7th straight record close. This was after 2 key triggers: after the US retail sales returned to growth and buoyed by Nvidia, which continued to surge to new peak as of overnight trading session. And now remember, this artificial intelligence chip firm Nvidia has overtaken Microsoft and has become the most valuable public listed company. The shares of the chip maker, drove about 3.2% higher at 135, dollars. Lifting its market cap to about $3.3 trillion just days after overtaking iPhone maker Apple to become the second most valuable company, and now it is the most valuable company. So it's very strong cues coming in from the Wall Street. Apart from the Nasdaq, we also saw that the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones also ending higher in trade, with the S&P 500 jumping about almost 0.25% higher in trade as of yesterday. Now, following this, most Asia Pacific indices also rose in early trade on Wednesday, taking cues from the Wall Street peers, which reported new highs. Now we've actually seen across the board, be it the Nikkei, the Kospi, Hang Seng, or the Shanghai, all of them up and about in trade, with the Hang Seng moving about 1.5% higher and a percent move for the Kospi index as well. So very strong move in the Asian markets as well. Now, following this, what we've also seen is that the GIFT Nifty is indicating a positive start, upwards of 23,600 and thereabouts as well. Foreign portfolio investors, meanwhile, they bought stocks worth about 2569 odd crore rupees in yesterday's trading session, and they have remained buyers for the second straight trading session as well. Domestic institutional investors, they stayed buyers again for the second day, they mopped up equities worth about 1,555 odd crore rupees. So we are getting across the board a positive trigger for the markets to move up higher. The only watch, just like how Shell pointed out, will be the crude oil prices. Brent crude now hovering above $85 a barrel on, again, the war jitters that are spreading in the Middle East. So we are going to be keeping a keen eye out on how the crude oil prices really move from here as well. But apart from this, when we look at the key stocks that you need to watch out for, Vodafone Idea and Indus Tower, definitely these are the two stocks that you will start by watching out, because Vodafone Group will likely divest about 9.94% of its stake in the telecom tower operator Indus Towers in a share sale on Wednesday over one or more tranches on the exchanges today. The carrier could sell 26.8 crore shares worth about 9,138 crore rupees. And this is as per, and this could be in the range of about 310 to 341 rupees per share. This is what our initial reports are suggesting to us. Gland Pharma again, Fosun is likely to sell about 5% stake in the company through the block deal. Fosun Pharma offers about 8.2 million shares in the company at a floor price of 1750 rupees per share. Craftsman Automation, that is something I'm keeping an eye out on. The board here has approved raising of up to 1,200 crore rupees through QIP. So we look at that one too. Tata Technologies, the company has collaborated with Microsoft and Tata Motors for the Innovent Hackathon for engineering students. We'll keep an eye out on this one as well. And there are two IPO offerings that we need to keep an eye out on. D Development Engineers, the company will offer its share for bidding on Wednesday onwards. The price band is set from 193 to 203 rupees per share. This is a 418 crore rupee IPO, a combination of both fresh issue of 325 odd crore rupees, and the rest of the offer is from offer for sale. The company has already raised about 125 odd crore rupees from the anchor investors. And the second one is Acme Fintrade India. The company will start bidding for its shares today. So these are some of the stocks that I'm going to be keeping a keen eye out on, Shell.
Sakshi, I have often wondered how Indian investors can benefit from this meteoric rise that Nvidia has shown.
Yeah.
We'll be shortly joined by Mr. Gaurang Shah as well. You remember we used to discuss an ETF which was based on NASDAQ, which was Mirai Asset FANG NYSE ETF, now at about 92, 93 rupees. We used to discuss it at 38, 45, 55 and then on, where Nvidia is the second largest holding of that particular fund. I think about 11%. Let me just check. Nvidia has about let me just check that number for you. Okay, so the size of the fund is about 2100 crores, and 11.5% of that fund is invested in Nvidia. 10% of that fund is invested in Apple, and 11% of that fund is invested in Alphabet, which is actually Google. So by doing nothing, you could have benefited from this 2x rise in Nvidia over the last 1 year. The stock of course trades at about $135, and it has appreciated 217% in 1 year and 173% year to date. So any sensible person could have trapped that move by doing nothing. Mr. Gaurang Shah joins us, Senior Vice President, Geojit Financial Services, and a very warm welcome to you, Gaurang. नमस्कार, शुभ प्रभात, स्वागत है आपका। इससे पहले कि साक्षी आपसे कोचीन शिपयार्ड के बारे में दोबारा पूछें, मैं आपको ये बताना चाह रहा हूँ कि वो आजकल बम्बई से काम कर रही हैं, तो यही मौका है उनसे मिलने का, और साक्षी यही मौका है आपके पास गौरांग जी से मिलने का और उन्हें इन पर्सन धन्यवाद देने का कोचीन शिपयार्ड के लिए। एक बार स्टॉक दिखा देते हैं गौरांग जी, जब आप आएंगे हमारे शो पर उसकी शुरुआत कोचीन शिपयार्ड से की जाएगी। पिछले 2 दिनों में लगभग 20-22% की वृद्धि तो सिर्फ कोचीन शिपयार्ड के स्टॉक प्राइस में हुई है। हमेशा की तरह तहे दिल से आपका धन्यवाद और बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। और साक्षी की तरफ से प्रश्न मैं ये पूछ लेता हूँ, अब क्या होगा कोचीन में यहाँ से? ये तो मतलब समझिए कोचीन से कश्मीर पहुँच गया।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद शैल जी, आपका सभी को सादर प्रणाम और शुभ प्रभात हमारे तरफ से। हम तो निमित्त मात्र है। ये आपका बड़प्पन है, साक्षी का बड़प्पन है और आपके चैनल का बड़प्पन है जो हमें अवसर मिलता है लोगों से मिलने का और बातचीत करने का। और 2200 के लक्ष्यांक की बात करी थी पिछले बारी, अगर मेरी याददाश्त सही है तो 2300 के पार जाकर के मेरे ख्याल से कल कोचिन शिपयार्ड बंद आया है। सबसे पहले तो हम काफी खफा है साक्षी से कि हुजूर बंबई आ गए और हमें पता भी नहीं चला। तो मौका दीजिएगा लंच या डिनर के लिए साक्षी, कभी भी आपको समय हो। मैं उम्मीद करता हूं हमारा दूर वार्तालाप नंबर आपके पास होगा, तो इंतजार करेंगे। लेकिन स्वागत है आपका सपनों की नगरी बंबई में। और शैल जी, अब तेरा क्या होगा कालिया, ये शोले पिक्चर का डायलॉग याद आता है जब आपने मुझसे प्रश्न पूछा कि अब क्या होगा। तो मैं उम्मीद करता हूं, मैं उम्मीद कर सकता हूं, और उम्मीद पे तो दुनिया कायम है शायद। So I hope that there are much more better levels to see in Cochin Shipyard, purely because of the kind of orders that they have got, Shell, and they are likely to get. I was reading a report, Shell, that they are going to make an indigenous light aircraft carrier, other than the one that they have already made. They have got a couple of more orders, and I think if this is the space of orders that Cochin Shipyard is going to get, not only the new order book but even the dry dock facility that they have for the repairs and upkeep of vessels. My sense is that, and not only for Cochin Shipyard, Shell, this is not a recommendation, but just an opinion from my side with respect to the defense stocks. We all know a very recent history in terms of 4th of June, what happened to the public sector company stocks, especially the defense ones. And from 4th of June till date, if you can just see that 15-day chart or a 12-day chart, I think you will be surprised to see the kind of returns that these stocks have given you. So I'm very optimistic about Cochin Shipyard. We have a buy recommendation over there. And the others where we don't have a recommendation but just a reference to the growth story that we are going to look at is the Hindustan Aeronautics, the Mazgaon Docks, the Bharat Dynamics Limited, likes of BHEL, BML. BEL is one of the company where we have recommendation shell, and of course some of the private players who have very recently stepped into this arena.
Very good morning to you, Gaurang sir. Yes, I apologize that I did not call you. I had come here for a personal work, but I was doing my work from the Bombay office, and I will definitely call you after this. And we'll hopefully meet up, but I have a flight back to Delhi tonight itself. So let's see whether we can do that. But the other thing, of course, we've discussed the Panch Pandav that you have shared with us several times on our channel. I still remember the 4 key strategies that you very vocally told all our viewers time after time on these defense stocks. There couldn't have been a clearer clarion call that you could have shared with our viewers to take a dip in these defense rally and not be fearful while participating if they have a long-term vision. So you first said a screaming buy. Then you said that you should not be wasting any more time. The third time you said that anyone having any common sense should be now listening to me and buying it right now. Then you talked about the Panch Pandavas and the rally right here. What phrase are you going to be giving me today so that I can refer to that every time that you're not also on the channel, so that I can at least ensure all the viewers joining anytime to listen to you?
First of all, I think आपके माता पिता ने आपको मामरो बादाम खूब खिलाई होगी बचपन में। जिस तरीके से आपकी याददाश्त है उसकी दाद देनी पड़ेगी। I can only say that if you have taken my advice and if you invested in these stocks, just enjoy the ride.
Yes, sir.
Unless you need the money, don't sell these stocks, and possibly give it to the next generation, setting an example that this is what wealth creation is all about.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I will remember this, and viewers, there couldn't have be a better advice for you to listen to, a saner advice, the practical advice that you should be following when you look at the defense rally. Feeling FOMO, do not feel that, but listen to the advice and take action as of now. Let's move beyond the defense space now, sir. and understand from you, where else are you really looking for? We are already at record high levels again. Where else should one be really looking at for value, for adding some stocks in their portfolio, maybe in the run up to the budget as well? Now, that will be the big trigger that we are all watching.
Sakshi, to be very honest, budgets and elections are just, for me, if you ask me very personally, this is my very personal opinion. These are just events that will go by. And it happens, budget happens every year. Elections happens every 5 years, unless and until you have a floor test and the government falls. And of course, along with that, you have various elections throughout the year in India. Very soon, I think couple of states will go in for state election. So that will keep on happening. I don't think that should deter you, or that should be a thumb rule for you to invest in the stock market. For me, I think if I have to only give credit is to the fundamental of the sector, the company, and of course the growth story that lies in front of us. So I mean, budget will be a trigger, but then after budget, like after elections, we have come down to brass tacks. I think even after budget, just before the budget and maybe 1 or 2 days after that, we may take a while to dissect and of course to read between the lines what the Honorable Finance Minister has to tell us in the month of July. I don't know about the date of the budget, by the way. So I think the couple of things that I believe will be in focus, and honestly speaking, Sakshi, there are a lot of unsolicited advice that is doing the rounds in the market. That government will start spending, it will be a populist budget, they'll do this, they'll do that. As far as I know of this budget, and you and me and Shail knows, and all the sensible people know, this government is going to walk the talk. It is going to go by the principles of discipline. It is not going to do anything out of the box just because they have got 240 seats. They will work hard towards achieving a larger number, possibly in the next election. But to garner that large number of seats and dole out lollipops, I don't think they are going to do that. So sectors that I will watch out for is by default, defense will always be there, Sakshi. Financials, both private as well as public banks, strong NBFCs, autos. Three sectors that I would highlight in terms of earnings, since we'll be in the earning season by early second week of July. IT, specialty and agrochemicals, and insurance, life insurance companies. These are the themes for a long-term kind of a prospect. Shakshi.
Okay, understood. So these are the three themes that Mr. Gaurang Shah is really focused on, and we will continue to track these themes going forward from here. The other stock that I wanted to discuss with you, sir, is in fact the stock that we are going to be watching out today. It's in the news flow as well, and that is Vodafone Idea and also Indus Towers together with the kind of divestment from the parent group that is likely in trade today. How should one be really viewing this development for both in respect of both these stocks, sir?
Well, honestly, first of all, please address me as Gaurang Sakshi. It's my humble request. Please don't add that sir behind it. It's a humble request. And even to Shail also. I mean, Shail, of course, is a good friend. He always addresses me as Gaurang. It's a request to you. So, for Vodafone Idea, Hriday or Man Parivartan hua hai. I will put it this way. Because earlier we were on the sell side, then we had dropped the coverage because we had got our sell side downside targets, and we had then had no coverage over there. But post the FPO, Sakshi, at 11 rupees, let me give a disclosure that on the FPO we had given a subscribe at 11 rupees from a long-term point of view, and currently we are maintaining a hold, if I'm not mistaken, on Vodafone Idea. My sincere well wishes will be there with the management of Vodafone Idea, that they come out of this debt trap that they are into, and they lighten up their balance sheet by garnering funds from the market or otherwise, whatever sources are available at their disposal. And I'm also of the opinion that it is absolutely not advisable to have a duopoly as far as the cellular service sector is concerned in India, because you have a huge base. 2, 3, 4 players would be very healthy in terms of competition, and that will be also augmenting in terms of delivering better earnings. So as of now, we have a hold on Vodafone Idea.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this discussion was against the background of a $1.1 billion transaction, which Vodafone Idea's parent, Vodafone PLC, is doing in India by selling a stake in Indus Stars, and that money is going to be used possibly to improve the financials of cash-strapped, loss-making and debt-ridden Vodafone Idea. Over the last 2 months or so, Vodafone Idea's management is making a concerted effort to improve the balance sheet structure of the company, and this is amongst the steps which are the latest and therefore need to be kept in your mind. Gaurang, I'd just like to take your view on this very strong pipeline of promoters selling in the market. Today there are 4 transactions, actually 5. Sakshi, one more is about to happen. Piramal Enterprises, about 1 crore 8 lakh shares will be sold at 900 rupees. That is about to happen. Do you think this constant selling by promoters, who are the best insiders of this business, has this ability to derail the bull run?
I don't think so, Shail. And I think promoters buying or selling, they use their wisdom and they use their capability of fine judgment. They do all these acts because of various reasons. They acquire because they feel that their company is not justified in terms of valuation where the stock is traded at. They sell it because of various reasons. One of them could be in terms of that justified value is there. Let us sell some stake and possibly look at some kind of organic, inorganic growth, or look at some new businesses in terms of acquisition. There have been instances, like you rightly mentioned, Shail, before this, many times even the MNC parent company has sold the Indian listed arm. There are a couple of examples in the very recent history that we've known. So that should not be a detrimental in terms of an overhang for your investment in that company in case if you bought it, or if you're inclined towards investing it in that company. As and when these deals happen, there is a discount available. I think you should snatch that opportunity and invest from a long-term point of view. I won't say any specific names with respect to Piramal Enterprise because we don't have a coverage. It was just a general observation that I have put forward.
Okay. Today's 5 deals, ladies and gentlemen, let me just repeat. Indus Stars 1.1 billion stake, Sansera Engineering 750 crores, about a 5% stake in Gland Pharma to the tune of $170 million, and of course the fourth one is ZFCV India. This is an auto ancillary, and the fifth one is ancillary stock. The fifth one is NBFC PEL. With that background in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get ready for the pre-open trade. Remember, last 2 or 3 days have been a gap up. Even today, there are expectations that there will be a strong gap up in the market. Let us see how many points that comes into, and then we'll take a call from what to do at those levels. The Nifty is opening about 100 points lower. We will let that settle sensibly. Let's look at the broader market, and because Gaurang is here, we'll start with Cochin Shipyard. 1.7% higher, 23.59. Needless to say, it's a record high. And again, like I had pointed out, defense will be the theme. The 3 most active counters on NSE 500 are, ladies and gentlemen, Hindustan Aeronautics, Mazgaon, Cochin Shipyard and Garden Reach, all up between 1 and 1.5%. Let's look at the other top gainers in this piece. QIP of Craftsman Automation. This is the most active counter as of now on NSE. It's about 1% higher, 4,800. You have Container Corporation 2.6% higher, 1170. Fertilizer stocks will need to be watched. Remember the GST news that I gave you. RCF 6% higher, 182.85. And of course you have the likes of Schaeffler, Mastech, Fact is also up 2%. This is a fertilizer stock, please keep it in mind. Let's take a detour into the FNO stocks. Container Corporation, ladies and gentlemen, there is some news, some media reports coming in that the divestment actually has not got any strong feelers from potential buyers, and that's the reason why the stock is oscillating. Chambal Fertilizers 2.3% higher, 448. Birla Soft 2% higher. Coromandel International 0.83% higher. Mahindra and Mahindra 1.25% higher. In terms of top losers, you have Indian Hotels, Divi's Lab, Gale, Bank of Baroda, nothing much of consequence here. In terms of cash, the top losers are Sobha Developers, nothing to be worried about. Phoenix Mills Limited 1.2% lower, nothing to be worried about. Nothing at all. So it's more or less a flat kind of an opening, 37 points higher on the Nifty, 23,600 right there, ladies and gentlemen, for you. So a fresh record high. Gaurang, coming to you on private banks, buzz there in the smaller ones such as City Union Bank, Federal Bank, Karnataka Bank, and the large caps are finally moving. How do you see the banking sector at the moment?
I would wait for that glorious day with the golden sun rising when HDFC Bank moves, Shail. I think all patience have been put to test, and I pray to Lord Almighty that get some momentum into that stock for the love of God. If you really want to have that bank Nifty performing and in terms of contribution. But having said that, I'm not disappointed. We have been maintaining a positive stance on HDFC Bank. There have been some reports of fresh targets being revisited by some Goras in terms of their intellectual wisdom that they have. Like I mentioned in my opening remarks, Shail, that I would definitely keep, and I have been advocating a very decisive portion of your portfolio to be allocated towards banking and finance. I maintain that. You named your question was with respect to some of the smaller private banks. So City Union Bank, Federal Bank, and IDFC First Bank. These are the three names that feature. If you have a little bit of elevated risk appetite, then I would add on two more names over here, and those are RBL Bank and Bandhan Bank. Mind you, you should have a relatively elevated risk appetite in case if you decide to look at these two names. And my sense is that the asset quality and credit growth is going to really open up a lot of opportunity for numbers being delivered better than expected.
Okay, got that. So that's the view coming in on the financials and the big banks that Gaurang has a positive view on. Let's look at some more stocks. Let's look at Zomato first. Remember yesterday, both Zomato and Paytm were in focus because Zomato wanted to, pick up the entertainment business of Paytm. Today, UBS has come out with a report of a buy rating and a 250 target price of Zomato. The stock is up by about 0.7% odd. Let's look at the others. So Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv. Let's look at how they are reacting. Bernstein has come out with a report initiating a market perform rating with a 6,800 target price on Bajaj Finance. Let's look at that. On IndusInd Bank, let's look at how Bernstein has reacted with the report, initiated an outperform with an 1,800 target price. So let's look at IndusInd Bank as well as to how that one is reacting. On the stock, yes, about a 0.5% higher. Muthoot Finance is another one where Bernstein has given a positive rating, outperform initiating with a target price of 2,000 on this one as well. Let's also look at two more stocks where there are brokerage houses reports. Macquarie gave a 950 target on Tech Mahindra. Let's see how that one is reacting. Even though the rating is still underperformed, although they believe Tech Mahindra can outperform LTI, HCL and TCS. About a 0.6% of a move on the upside. Varun Beverages is another interesting counter where CLSA has raised the target price to 1,977 as well. And they on increased affordability, new territories, products could sustain growth is what they believe, about 0.9% of a move on the upside. We'll wait for Mitesh Panchal also to join in. Okay, we do have Mitesh with us. Good morning to you, Mitesh, and thank you so much for taking the time out. Do tell us with the Nifty clocking in 23,600 now, the Nifty Bank finally moving up with the banks like HDFC, ICICI contributing to the gains. Where do you see the markets headed and your top two stock ideas?
Good morning, Sakshi. Good morning, Shailji, and to the panelists or to all the viewers as well. Now, Sakshi, since last couple of days, we have taken a call as a house that now the time has come to raise cash into the portfolio. No doubt about it that the market is in the full swing, but one should keep an eye on the indices by the way of having a view that one cannot have a one-way rally. So we are of the view that one should raise a significant cash, and here is a time where you should book profit in all those stocks where you are making a good amount of profit. Apart from that, it's also a best time for reshuffling or reallocating the sectors as well as the stocks as well. So we are now shifting our focus to three stocks. First among them is Dabur. I think Dabur has a good rally from 500 odd levels, and above 600 Dabur is now in a position to deliver a very strong return. So Dabur is one stocks which we are picking up right now. Another stocks which we are picking up from the cement basket is C Cement. I think after a good consolidation, the stock is now entering into a new trading range, and Sri Cement is up for a buy. And the third stock which we are looking as of now is Whirlpool. So these are the three new stocks added into the portfolio. Our clients might have a direct or indirect position in these stocks. I don't have any position in these stocks, but yes, a time has come where you'll have to significantly raise cash into your portfolio first. Second thing, whatever is the open position, you go and hedge this position. And third, it's a time to reallocate the stocks. So with this kind of three strategies, we are approaching the market. Now, as far as the headline index is concerned, we are now trading into an uncharted territory, Sakshi. So probably any figure on the upside can be achievable. But one thing which we are looking at technically is that what are the trend reversal level as far as the indices goes. So for the Bank Nifty, the trend reversal level is 48,500. A weekly close below this will give a dent to this trend, and probably we are heading lower. So 48,500 is where one should put a stop as far as all your longs are concerned in Bank Nifty, and 22,500 is where you should put a stop as far as Nifty is concerned. So I think the idea right now is where you should put the stop, where you should trail the stop. That is what should be the idea. The upside is, I mean, it can be any figure on the upside, but going forward, whatever correction comes brutal and very sharp. So please be prepared for that, and advisable to hedge the position, whatever open positions you have.
Right. Good morning to you, Mitesh. A very warm welcome on Market Today. And what sensible advice. And of course, contrary to the entire market and practically thought of. Thank you for such wonderful thoughts. And I'm sure our viewers and investors in particular and traders in particular need this to be on the top of their screen, even if they, don't act upon it. This is a market that's risen too fast, too much. A hedge is needed, and of course, portfolios need to be sort of taken care of. Whirlpool is a new addition. That's something to be looked forward to. Remember, the parent sold about 5-7% stake in this one at 1,200 rupees, and from then on, Indian mutual funds have rallied and been very happy with the stake that they bought, particularly SBI mutual fund that purchased 5 lakh shares now at 1,800. So you've made 50% in less than 3 months. Welcome to this bull market. Mitesh, your view on ICICI Bank and SBI. I have a lot of delivery data that points to very serious picking up of deliveries at these levels. What according to you would be an outperformer within the private banking large cap space, and of course the private banking small cap space?
See, as far as the private banking large cap space is concerned, you pick the right stocks, LG. The reason being is this, that if you look at the weekly chart, from 3rd of May 2024, the stock hit a high of 1169.55. And since then, the stock is into the consolidation. So ICICI Bank is up for a very strong upside probably this time around. And we are of the view that the stock may test 1200, 1250. Recently, the stock had a very good, strong support at 1100 odd levels, because for the last week on 14th of June 2024, stock was unable to close below 1100 levels. So yes, one thing is very clear, that ICICI Bank is here for a very strong upside. Second, about SBI, again, SBI is forming high bottom high top formation, but not like SBI. So, sorry, not like ICICI. So here I would like to look at the high which it has formed during the election result, that is for the week ended 7th of June 2024, 912. So, Salji, as long as 912 upside is not taken away, then it is probably difficult for the stocks to move up. So, let's wait and watch for SBI, but ICICI is a clear buy. Apart from that, I don't know this is whether this is a private bank or public bank, because I don't have that kind of a fundamental knowledge. But City Union Bank is looking very promising at this stage, and now the stock is heading for a 205 odd level. The target seems to be very high, but if you look at the chart pattern since last 2 week, high top high bottom formation, bit of a resistance at 164 levels, odd levels. Yesterday's close with 157. Sooner than later, stock will cross 164 and eventually enter into 180 to 200 band. So yes, from the risk reward viewpoint and looking at the structure of the market, City Union Bank is where I would like to put my bet with a stop of 151 at the price of 157 for the first target of 164 followed by 180.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, City Union Bank it is. The all-time high for this counter is 247, which, ladies and gentlemen, we saw before COVID, Jan 13th, 2020. A very, very strong daily chart, and of course, Mitesh has it on the bank. Mitesh, this question is to you as well as Gaurang. A lot of activity expected in fertilizer stocks. Monsoon is good. More important, the government is acting on the kind of message that the rural voter has sent in the national elections, and there is this possibility that the 5% GST on the price of fertilizers may be taken out later this June once the GST Council meets. What would be your top pick in the fertilizer space, Mitesh, and to you as well, Gaurang? Mitesh, first you.
Okay, so two topics. First is from the cash segment, that is RCF. If you look at RCF, the stock is now heading at a lifetime high, that is 190 odd levels. I mean, recently it has hit an all-time high, and now the stock is heading for a very strong upside. In the recent past, it had made a high of 190 in the month of January 2024. Since then, the stock had a very strong sell-off, made a low at 118 on 13th of March 2024, and since then there is no looking back. So I think RCF is one thing which one should eye at. We are of the view that in RCF, looking at the structure, stock is heading for an all-time high. Stock has closed at 174, probably with a stop of 150. One should go long. First target is beyond all-time high of 190, that is 210, and second target is 250. And from the FNO space, what is looking interesting is Coromandel International. If you look at the chart pattern of Coromandel International, since last 4 weeks, Shalji, it is forming a heart of higher bottom formation. And this is one of the rare chart pattern which I have witnessed within the entire fertilizer space. Stock is trading at an all-time high, and generally in the cyclical names, this is my experience, that when the stock is trading at an all-time high, basically that momentum needs to be chased, because then the stock will hit much higher levels from that level. So I think now Coromandel, the time has come where the stock will be entering into a new trading range between 1615 to 1700. So at 1530 with a stop of 1480, one should go long in Coromandel International for a target of 1615 to 1700.
Okay, the markets have opened 23,596. You have a record high on the Nifty. The Nifty Bank higher by about 50,482 odd levels. About a 30-point of an uptick can be seen on this one. A flat with a positive bias on both the major indices. Let's look at the key heavyweight counters: HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Reliance Industries, and Infosys, to see how these are contributing to the moves as far as the Nifty is concerned. And to see whether these stocks are contributing sharply in the gains today. So let's pull up stocks like HDFC Bank today and see whether there is a follow-up buying in trade. And of course, the other stocks are flattish with a negative bias trade on this one. Let's look at Reliance Industries to see whether that one is moving. It's the mid cap that has again hit a record high again in trade today, about a 0.25% of a new move that can be seen. The IT stocks are doing well. Reliance Industries on your screens, about a 0.25% uptick can be seen on this one right here. Apart from this, let's look at Infosys, and let's also look at some other stocks, like including Indus Towers, Vodafone Idea that have been in news as well to see whether there is move, and of course the defense stocks to see whether there is a follow-up move on that. Indus Towers down by about 2% after that block deal has taken place. Vodafone Idea at 16.9. 0.3% of an uptick on that one too. Let's again look at the defense stocks, Cochin Shipyard, how that one is opening up in trade today. And of course, following it, yes, about a 3.7% uptick, 2406. So congratulations to you, Gaurang. I think the initial earlier time when you had talked about Cochin Shipyard, you did say 2400 is your target. We will come back to you to understand what is the next target on this one again. So let's also look at HAL, BEL, and let's also look at Mazagon Dock Shipyard as well, how those stocks are also moving up in tandem. Financials are flattish in trade. Nifty PSU Bank is flattish with a positive bias. PSU index is actually doing well, 0.3% of an uptick. So some move coming in on that one. Some stocks are consolidating at those higher levels as far as the defense stocks are concerned. Shell, yours.
Flat market, ladies and gentlemen, nevertheless a record high. We have 109 point uptick on Nifty Bank, which will have its weekly expiry. Let's go through the major block deals that are expected today. Let's look at ZFCV, where Wapco Asia will be selling a 5% stake. The counters opened 7% lower, 16,105. The transaction is likely to be at, if I remember the price, 1490 rupees per share. Let's see how it reacts. PEL is flat. Piramal Enterprises 904. About 1 crore 8 lakh 40,000 shares have to be sold at 900 rupees. You also have a very strong move coming in Sansera Engineering. Remember, Sansera was to have a transaction for 750 crores. Well, very, very strong move, 6% higher. And of course, let's also look at Gland Pharma. This was a 5% transaction from its parent Fuson. Gland Pharma for you at the moment is 1.7% lower, 1810. What's really buzzing, ladies and gentlemen, is the entire metal space led by JSW Steel. There is a very sharp move coming into Siemens. Let's look at the NSE 500 and find out any sensible transactions. Taking it away, ladies and gentlemen, is the fertilizer space. Top 3 gainers are from the fertilizer pack. RCF 7.8% higher, 187. Fact 6.8% higher, 925. Chambal Fertilizers 5.25% higher. Very, very heavy volumes. And of course, GSFC 2.4% higher at 243.78. Zomato 2.2% higher, 192. Deepak Fertilizers buzzing 2.5% higher, 635. Coming to you, Mitesh, what would you do at the moment?
See, looking at the screen share, the one thing which is very clear is that all my eyes are on the definitely fertilizer stocks. Apart from that, not only fertilizer stock but also sugar stocks as well. So the seasonal play is here. So all these stocks would like to watch and take a trading bet on this. Apart from that, as I said, would like to hedge my portfolio and would like to sit on cash. So finding the ways where I can definitely book my profit in this kind of a market condition. And as far as Nifty and Bank Nifty is concerned, with the strict stop loss, I would like to take the bet in both the indices, provided that I will get it first 15 minutes of a tick as per what we are expecting. So as far as stocks is concerned, I think as of now today, the eyes are on 2 stocks. First is Apollo Tyre and second is Adani Enterprise. We are of the view that these 2 stocks technically are looking very good for 2 to 3 days. So as far as Adani Enterprise are concerned, I think at the current level, one should go long. Let's start with Apollo Tyre. So with Apollo Tyre 480 stop loss, one should go long into it for a target of around 500. And as far as Adani Enterprise is concerned, I think at the current level, stock is looking very promising. And we are of the view that going forward, a stock will enter into a new trading range. So today's earlier weakness should and must be bought into. at 3283 would like to buy the stock with a stop of 3210, and probably in the next 2 or 3 days we'll be looking for a potential target of 3400 to 3450. So these are the two stocks technically looking interesting as far as FNO bet is concerned.
Okay, let's again look at some of the other stocks. So there's again another block deal that has probably happened. Windsor Machines, 13% up in trade. There's a 3.49% equity that is exchanged hands. That's moving up sharply. From the defense pack, it's Paras Defense that had again taken a flight, 8% higher in trade today after those 2 days of consecutive gains on the 20% uptick that we saw. Apart from this, yesterday's debut, star debut, Lee Travenues is another 15% higher in trade today. The operator of Ixico, the travel portal, it's now at a 190 rupees price point. Remember, the issue price was finalized at 93. The listing happened at 138. Continuous move on day one, and today it is at 190 again. So that's the kind of move that we are looking at in some of these stocks. And there's also Tata Motors, and there is news flow also on that. So let me just check Tata Motors. I think it's about 0.6% up in trade today. There's news that Tata Motors' wholly owned subsidiary, Jaguar Land Rover, has now signed a letter of intent with Chinese automaker Chery Automobile to license the Freelander brand to their joint venture. So both JLR and Chery are in pact to make e-vehicles in China, and this joint venture will make these e-vehicles under the Freelander brand as well. 990 currently for Tata Motors. So we'll take viewpoints from our guests on these particular stocks too. ZF Commercial, again, a 7.6% equity has exchanged hands as well. So we'll continue to keep an eye out on those big block deals that are taking place continuously. But let me get Gaurang into the conversation. First, Gaurang, on Tata Motors, the auto space, we've discussed with you far and wide as to how this new pact will augur well for the company. The stock has been consolidating after a stellar run-up for a long time now. What's next for the stock?
Actually, I think it will be a while before we see any kind of meaningful performance in the stock price from the higher side, and that view is purely because of the levels where the stock is trading. Point number one, fourth quarter earnings. These statements to venture out and do a little bit more in terms of newer products being offered will add value, but we'll only come to know when actually at ground level things starts happening and the launches are sold off the showrooms. We are maintaining a positive stance. For me, the bigger trigger, Sakshi, would be the possibility of production of JLR in Sanand, Gujarat. That is what the management has spoken about. And more weightage that I would give is the statement made by the management in terms of debt reduction. I think these two would be a greater trigger for re-rating of Tata Motors shares, but we are maintaining a buy call on Tata Motors.
Okay, and what about Lee Travenues, sir? Did you have a report on this one, the new listing yesterday, and what next for this travel-related stock?
I would love to skip this one, Sakshi, because I don't recollect that whether we have covered this.
Sure. Okay. Let's get Mitesh into the conversation then. Mitesh, apart from the fertilizer names that you've mentioned, what else is looking promising to you in the opening?
Two things. First is Cummins India at 3934. Stock is 2.5% up, looking very promising. I think with 3900 of a stock, one should go long. Stock is in the race of chasing 4,000 levels. Second stock, apart from banking, which Selji has spoken about, ICICI Bank, what is looking interesting after a very long period of time is IndusInd Bank at 1530, looking very interesting. So at 1500 with a stop of 1500, one should go long for intraday for the potential target of 1560, 1580.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had the first 10 minutes of trade. While a lot of sectors have really outperformed, primarily the fertilizer space. You have two record highs, Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers, and FACT as also Coromandel International at about 1582. So that's a buzzing sector, and this will continue for a variety of reasons. The three that come top to my mind are, of course, the spread of the monsoon. It's supposed to be really good this time. The budget run-up, which is there till July 22nd, and of course the near point trigger, which is this GST, the 5% cost of GST on fertilizers may be taken away. Let's take a detour into the broader markets. Today is not a day where you see broad-based rallies. We track 19 indices for you. Actually, 10 of them are in the red, led by Nifty Realty Index down 2% at 1127. This is nothing to be worried about. The Nifty Realty Index has actually gone up substantially, but a 2% cut is a bit much for a single day. The Nifty Bank is the top gainer, 0.8% higher, and surprise, surprise, today is its weekly expiry too. Keep an eye out on stocks such as ICICI Bank, keep an eye out on Axis, SBI and HDFC Bank. These are the ones that have shown very, very strong delivery patterns. As good time as any to check what's happening in Nifty Bank. Okay, Federal Bank is at a record high. This is something that needs to be checked, 175.50, 0.2% higher. In terms of most actives, a very, very interesting day, Sakshi. All 12 are in the green. There are no losers on Nifty Bank, and this is the weekly expiry, and the index is already up 400 points. Federal Bank for you, Mitesh, what are the charts telling you?
Yeah, after a very long period of time, sadly, two banks, ones which I talk about, CUB, City Union Bank and Federal Bank came into the picture, and Land Bank. I think the bank is up for 190 to 200 levels. Very strong setup on both daily and weekly chart. One should go long with a stop of 168 for the potential target of 190 to 200. Very in a near future, sadly, surprisingly, probably the stock may give an upside of close to 8 to 10% in a single trading sessions. That is the structure of Federal Bank, which is advocating such a strong move. So one should go definitely long in Federal Bank at the current level.
Okay, that's the view that is coming in on Federal Bank. ICICI, as I had pointed out, very, very strong delivery patterns, 1.35% higher, 1138. How about Axis? 0.5% higher, 1199. Let's take a detour into the BSE mid cap space and see what are the stocks that have a very strong move coming in. You know, the three most active counters on the mid cap index are Yes Bank, AU Bank and IDFC First Bank. So you can see this enthusiastic move that is coming in the smaller private sector banks, of which we checked one of the leaders, which is Federal Bank. In terms of record highs, you have Cummins India 3.5% higher and Federal Bank. Let's do a detour into the small cap space. For the moment, there is a very, very strong bout of profit booking happening on the broader markets. The Nifty 500 index is down 68 points at 22,260. Record highs on the small cap index, ladies and gentlemen. RK Forging, asset management company Nippon Asset Management, Exide 556, and of course Cochin Shipyard. A bit of a profit booking here, 4% down. Remember, it opened actually 4% higher, but absolutely no complaints here. Let us see what the broader markets are telling us. Volume buzzers: Chambal, RK Forging, GNFC, and of course you have City Union Bank. Already 16 lakh shares on City Union Bank have been traded. This was the first stock that Mitesh talked about. Counters up 0.2%. Sakshi, what are you watching?
Venus Remedies is one stock that's in focus, 2.5% higher in trade. The company's got an oncology tender from PAHO Oncology, which is the Pan American Health Organization, and therefore I can see some move coming in on this one. 385.9 currently on Venus Remedies. Nitish, would you have a view on this stock?
See, technical view is that about 380 the stock is looking promising, but for me, 395 level is very important. Stock need to cross 395 for a strong upside momentum and the sustainability of the trend. So, Sakshi, wait and watch for 395. If it gives a close today above 395 on a 15-minute candle, then with a stop of 380, one should definitely buy. Immediately, we should get 420, 450 on the upside. There are strong chances that above 495 stock in a very short span of time shoot up by 10 or 15%. So 495 is a very strong level, trend decider level. Once it crosses, there is no looking back. Probably today, if it crosses today, then probably chances are that today the stock is up by 10 or 15%.
Okay, got that. Let's look at the 52-week highs that we are looking at in trade today. Of course, a lot of them are from the fertilizer space, as discussed both by Shell and Mitesh. Jumble Fertilizers is up 6.2%. It's at a 52-week high. Rashtriya Chemicals is up 8.9%. It's at a 52-week high. Fertilizers and chemicals, that's fact, is at a 6.7%. It's a 52-week high for this one as well. Sharp move that can be seen across the board within the fertilizer space. What about the sugar space, Mitesh? This was in the thick of action last 10 days. Still interested in this space, or is the momentum dying down?
Definitely. See, this is the experience which says that whenever there is a rally in such a commodity stocks, they will last long. They will every time force you to think that is it enough? Is it enough or not? But the fact of the matter is that the rally continues and the rally ends typically when the stocks delivers 80 to 100% result or return. Sorry. So I think the rally in the sugar is still on. This is just a mild correction. One should buy into it. But Sakshi, every time, whenever we are talking about sugar or fertilizer or any cyclical or a commodity-based stocks, one should be very clear with the stop loss. This is a standing instruction, a humble request that if you are unable to adhere a very strict stop loss policy in place, if you are unable to execute it, please don't get into these counters because actually once they start falling, they're falling like they will fall like anything. So advisable if you are able to maintain a strict stop loss, then only get into this counter. Otherwise, avoid this completely.
Ladies and gentlemen, 9:33, flat trade on the Nifty, just 13 points higher. And there's, as I had said, a very strong bout of profit taking happening on the NSE 500, and the best indicator of that is the advanced decline ratio, now in the negative. Only 770 stocks are in the green compared with 1400 that are in the red. Within the NSE 500, which is now down 0.2%, 400 stocks, almost 390, are in the red compared with 112 that are in the green. Coming to your Gaurang, this conversation, my apologies, got sidetracked because of the market open. Within the fertilizer space, what would be your preference, private or public, and what would be a good price target amongst those that you track as a research team?
There are two names rather. First one is Chambal Fertilizer and second one is Coromandel International. And along with the fertilizer pack, I think it would be advisable to look at specialty and agrochemicals as well, because they are basically the contributors to the fertilizer sector. So over there, I think names like FIA Industries, Vinati Organics is something that you should look at.
Okay, fair point. We'll stick with Chambal and Coromandel and PI Industries. Of course, Chambal is at a record high, so is Coromandel, and of course, we've already discussed the broader themes that are driving this market. Okay, it's a day of banks, ladies and gentlemen, and there's no stopping Indus Ind. This was highlighted by both Gaurang on the fundamental side as well as Mitesh on the technical side. Let's look at what IndusInd Bank is doing. This is a stock that we don't talk very often about, but it's the top gainer, 1.9% higher, 1537. It's seen some great days. I remember an all-time high of 2200. But let's go with Mitesh first. Mitesh, what are IndusInd's charts telling you?
Shalji, when we have spoken this stock about just before 10 minutes, I think we took the position and now we are out of the position at 2%. We have booked the profit. But yeah, the stock is very strong. The structure is very strong. Above 1535 just now on 5 minutes candle, it has given a breakout, a fresh breakout, which will take the stock in intraday to the tune of 1560, 1570. So still there is a steam of at least 30 rupees or 2 odd% of a rise in today and tomorrow's trade. So definitely one should go even long at the current level of 1540.
Okay, let me just mark a very important transaction that's happened. This is Indus Stars, ladies and gentlemen. The counter's down 5.6%. 19,900 crores worth of trade has already happened. Remember, 95,000 crores is the market capitalization. Actually, yes, 95,000 crore rupees. So this translates to somewhere like 22% of stakes sold. Gaurang, would you step in? A 22% transaction in the open market on Indus Stars.
Well, so I think there has been, again, over here we have a coverage of accumulate on Indus Tower Shell. And I think the positivities are in terms of the developments that we've seen with respect to the outstandings now getting receivables and converted into credits. In terms of the growth story, there is a growth story. So these, like I mentioned in my opening remarks about these large bulk stroke block deals share, this should not deter your long-term investments. And I think being a infrastructure solution provider to the entire telecom sector, cellular services sector, I think this is also going to be one of the growth stories that you can look forward to. So we are maintaining an accumulate on Indus Tower from the long term.
Okay, let's get Sakshi into the conversation and also at the same breath look at Idea Cellular, Vodafone Idea, ladies and gentlemen. 22-23% stake sale essentially means that a lot of this money will be diverted into improving the quality of Vodafone Idea's balance sheet. Okay, Vodafone is in the red. Sakshi, what else have you noticed?
Well, Shail, of course, the trade is now getting limited to the banks and the financials. They are continuing to support the market to continue to remain in the green. And of course, it is the large private banks that are still holding up strong in the move today, because the markets have actually turned absolutely flat, with the mid caps now slipping into the red, the small caps as well. So the broader markets are losing the gains that they have garnered in the first 15-20 minutes odd. So apart from IndusInd Bank, ICICI, Kotak, Axis, City Union, which we've discussed, HDFC, these are the banks that are actually holding up strong in trade today. Barring this, if we look at the kind of moves that we are seeing, it's a flattish move on metals, pharma today. PSU banks are still holding up strong, with some of the moves coming in from counters like SBI, Bank of India, Union Bank. These are the counters and limited counters from that space as well that are still contributing to the gains on the Nifty today. And of course, what we've discussed is the fertilizer space that is within the broader markets that's garnering all the attention right now. And of course, the block deal majors like Sansera, they are still holding up strong, 6% higher in trade. Let's get Mitesh into the conversation. Mitesh, Sansera Engineering, after this big block deal, 6% higher, would you track this?
See, as far as the pattern is concerned, I think about 1250 there is a breakout, but again, we'll wait and watch, because at 1290 to 1300 there is a strong resistance. So, Shasi, let's wait for the follow-up buying and see to it whether the strong resistance has been taken over or not. If not, then we'll not touch the stock. About 1290 on the 15 minutes chart, we'll definitely look at the stock.
Okay, let me get Gaurang also in the conversation. Gaurang, we were looking at the entire consumer durable space as well. That was in the thick of action a few days ago, and stocks like Titan were making a comeback as well. How are you looking at this entire pack right now? And should one be really looking at this space?
So I think consumer discretionary is something that will be a second performer compared to the FMCG pack. And as a disclosure, the name that you mentioned, Titan Company, yesterday morning we had given a recommendation as a buy call on Titan Company. So that's a disclosure from our side. Levels of 4,000 plus will be quite easy to attain for Titan from a long-term point of view. We don't see any meaningful speed breakers or spokes in the wheel over there, Sakshi. And the reason for that would be, first of all, gold at 71,000 or 72,000 for 10 grams. The second is the contribution from the wristwatch high-end segment. Third one is, of course, the acquisition of one of the companies, I forget the name, unfortunately, a very renowned brand. And the fourth one being the contribution from accessories and eye care business. So that's the kind of build-up that we see for Titan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll circle back to Indus Stars for a company that's just seen 22-23% of its equity change hands, that too in the open market. The stock is rock solid, and that speaks about not only the strength of the individual company, but also the fact that not only newer investors are coming into Indus Stars, but the entire backbone of the telecom sector is in fine shape. Remember, Indus Stars is an infrastructural provider to the three listed telecom players, actually all of them, including BSNL. They make towers which are used by tenants such as Bharti Airtel, Vodafone Idea, Reliance Jio, and of course BSNL. Remember, Bharti Airtel and Vodafone are also the parent shareholders of Indus Towers, and the foreign ownership of Indus Towers is to the extent of 19%. So this is something that needs to be looked into. Only later will we know who the sellers are, but definitely Vodafone PLC wanted to sell a $1.1 billion sale in Indus Stars, and the transaction has exceeded the size. That's mainly because the demand has been so strong, and double that size of the transaction has factored. In fact, much more than double. It's 2.2 billion. Yes, about 20,000. So that would be the amount. The market capitalization is 92,679 crores on Vodafone Idea and on Indus Stars. And for the moment, about 20,788 crores worth of transactions have happened. So many zeros. This is 65 crore, 70 lakh shares that have changed hands. By any means, Sakshi, this would be the largest open market block deal that we have seen, and it's again the entire block deal space that is gathering attention. The second most active counters is ZF's CV India, 5.5% higher, lower, my apologies, 2,400 crores worth of transactions happening. Gaurang, would you want to step in on Indus Stars demand that has come in from shareholders? Only in the evening will we know who's come in, but a very strong, equally strong demand was seen in the FPO of Vodafone Idea, which was for 20,000 crores. Would you want to correlate both these events?
So appetite basically for a little bit of more riskier papers that are available in the market, Shail, and I think that's a good sign. It possibly builds up to the long-term durability of these companies, which were otherwise viewed as vulnerables in an otherwise strong stock market. So I'm glad that and more importantly, I think honestly, Shail, I think we also have heard about Hyundai planning a large IPO, one of the largest IPOs that we've seen. So this reassures me the liquidity in the market. I don't think there is any dearth of liquidity. If there is any concern, then that would be possibly limited to the risk-taking capability and capacity.
Fair point, and it's banking that's taking it away, Sakshi. Let me send you a wonderful photograph on how the delivery statistics have panned out. I'll also try and put it on my Twitter. But I think Gaurang's prayer on HDFC Bank has been heard in the right quarters, and it's the top gainer as far as the banking pack is concerned amongst the large caps. The counter now 0.7% higher, 1621. A quick one from you, Mitesh. Gaurang's prayers are being heard, but what are the charts of HDFC Bank now telling you for the medium term?
Bank is looking promising, and Shailji, off late, just before 5 minutes, there is a breakout in Kotak Mahindra Bank as well. So if you look at both these private big boys, probably they will participate in a good way today. Coming back to HDFC Bank, about 1315, it's a breakout. The stock is trading at 1395. So yes, definitely it's a strong up move which can be encountered throughout the day. And as far as Kotak Mahindra Bank is concerned, about 1720, 1720, the breakout has took place. So yes, towards the end of the day, Kotak Mahindra Bank can hit 1760, 1770.
Okay, that's a good one. So Kotak has also started to click in, and we are going to have a nice bouncy closing on the weekly expiry of Nifty Bank now 492 higher. This is at 50,935. Good one on the Nifty Bank. Mitesh, your quick one on Nifty Bank. Any option trade that you see working?
No, not Shailji exactly right now, but I think around 12 o'clock we will get a fair bit of an idea about which strikes one should go at, because I would like to look at the build-up, because in ICICI Bank and IndusInd Bank, as per the expectation, the build-up has gone up. But let us look at the build-up in Kotak Mahindra Bank and HDFC. If these two banks are contributing, then probably towards the second half, out of the money call might give you exceptional return today. So let me look at 12 o'clock where and in which strike price the build-ups are taking place, and then probably we will take a call. That is a much sensible way of looking at the options data today, not now.
Well, Mitesh, the Nifty Bank is still just a while away from the all-time high of 51,133 now. How soon is that going to be retested?
As I said just now, if the Kotak Mahindra Bank and HDFC Bank can support, probably today itself can hit a new high. And probably, as you know, in case of a Nifty as well, after hitting a new high, there is no looking back. So in case of a Bank Nifty as well, after hitting an all-time high, probably the index may go for 55,000. The reason being is this, that the big boys have yet not participated in the rally. So from the PSU Bank, what we are looking at is a Punjab National Bank that is looking very promising technically, and from the private bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, coupled with HDFC Bank, the three banks' contribution will make the entire mood much more aggressive, and probably sooner than later we have 55,000 on the card. Shakshi, today, tomorrow, I don't know the timing exactly, but there will be a big re-rating, technically speaking, on the three PSU bank, that is Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, and Punjab National Bank. We will see a marathon run probably by the end of the next show. Probably we might be discussing that. During the last show we had discussed about these three banks, and today at what level you can see that kind of a momentum can happen in these three banks. A very strong up move, probably of 8 to 10% in a single day, will took place in the near future in Bank of Baroda, Punjab National Bank, and Canara Bank. A very strong setup technically.
Okay, got that. So we will continue to keep an eye out on all of these as well. So strong move on the banking space, strong move on the fertilizer pack is what we've already discussed. You now have details of the key stocks that Mitesh is also looking at from these particular spaces as well. Beyond these two spaces, any other sector, Mitesh, that you feel is now getting ready for the outperformance?
Yes, very good question, Sakshi. And I think selected pharma stocks are looking very promising. Today, you have seen a strong up move in Torrent Pharma. I am of the view that Sun Pharma is looking for a very strong up move in the near future. Apart from that, not exactly pharma, but Syngene is also looking for a very strong up move. So I think yes, the pharma could be the next leg where one should keep an eye on. And I think after a breather, Lupin, Cipla, Glenmark, Oro, Sun Pharma, and Torrent will be the next basket which one should look at, technically speaking, from a very short term perspective.
Okay, got that. So that's the move that we can expect on the pharma space and the key counters right there as well. Right now, the Nifty Pharma is up from the day's low for sure. It's recovering, and slew of these counters that Mitesh has also talked about are in the thick of action, and we'll continue to track those as well. About 0.25% higher for the Nifty Pharma, 19,882, and therefore you can see a 0.3% of an uptick right here. Anything else, Shell, that you spotted in the interim?
Yes, actually, I think it's the small finance banks that are now participating in the rally. Look at Equitas. Normally, what we do is we focus on the frontline counters, and that's also a reason because we'd like our viewers as well as investors to be on the safer side, and therefore let's just say medium or mediocre, relatively mediocre balance sheets compared with large ones get ignored. But Equitas Small Finance Bank taking it away 3% higher, 105.26. Ujjivan Small Finance Bank on the NSE at the moment flat at 50 rupees, down 0.5%. So this is the quasi private sector banks that are doing very well, and I think there is no stopping Exigo. Yesterday's mega listing, a gap up today, and the counter went all the way up to 197.50, which was 20% higher. Now it's 15% higher. So a great listing, and it's gone up for a second day in a row. Let's see how long this sustains. I'm sure shareholders are really happy with this. Fairly strong volumes also coming in. Today's trade is somewhere in the vicinity of already 25 lakh shares. This is really good news for the IPO market. What else is clicking? Sakshi, I think it's a day for banking, and clearly this was caught very well by Mitesh. I'd just like to highlight within the PSU pack which are the banks that are doing well. Remember, yesterday the Nifty PSU banking index did pretty well, and let's look at the usual suspects: Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, Punjab National Bank, and try and make out a trend on that side. Only SBI is in the green, 0.5% higher, and mild profit booking happening on Canara, Bank of Baroda, PNB. Punjab and Sindh Bank is the top loser, 1% lower. Nothing to be worried about. Remember, public sector banks have given phenomenal returns over the last 18 months or so, and this is a swing trade in the making, where under-owned, underappreciated and underperforming private banks are now ruling the roost, and about time for HDFC Bank to click in. 636 points higher on the Nifty Bank. 51,000 is with us, Sakshi, and remember, we are at 955 only. This could be a massive trend day for Nifty Bank. The last 3 15-minute candles have shown higher highs and higher lows. Mitesh, what's your view for next week?
So as I said, Shailji, next week I am keenly looking at the PSU Bank. By the time next week when we head for the show on next Wednesday, we will be talking about a marathon run in the PSU Bank. That's for where I'm pretty sure. In the picking order, Punjab National Bank stood first, followed by Canada Bank and Bank of Baroda. I think today is a day for the private big boys, HDFC and Kotak Mahindra Bank, especially. You have already mentioned about ICICI Bank. We have picked up in IndusInd Bank as well. So these four big boys will lead the market today as far as Bank Nifty is concerned. But the rest of the week belongs to the PSU. And as what I can read out from my system and methods and the chart is that there is a very strong, very big rally, sustainable up move in these three PSU banks. That is Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, and Canara Bank. So probably I will be watching out for today only the private big boys, but for the rest of the week, it's all about PSU.
Okay. Strong moves in open interest as well. IndusInd Bank has a 3% uptick on open interest, counters up 2.1%. ICICI Bank has shown a 3.7% uptick in open interest. Axis Bank 3%, Kotak 1.2%, and of course you have HDFC Bank an addition of 1.3%. Where are private sector banks which are showing short covering and a rise in price? That, ladies and gentlemen, is City Union Bank. This was the first trade that Mitesh discussed. Sakshi, what's on your plate?
Just about 4 points away from the Nifty Bank. No, it's hit the record high level on the Nifty Bank again in trade today, something that we were just discussing. So we do have a new number, 51,172 on the Nifty Bank, 1.4% higher. This is a very strong move that has just come in on the Nifty Bank, and that's largely on the back of banks like HDFC, ICICI Bank. A very, very strong move really coming in. This is after 3rd June that the new move is being seen, or a new level is being seen on the Nifty Bank. Remember, last entire month or the last series of June so far has been a big underperformance for the Nifty Bank. But now it is going to be taking the front row. The signs were available yesterday, and today it's a record high level on the Nifty Bank. So it's all the four major indices, viewers: the Sensex, the Nifty Bank, the Nifty Mid Cap Index. All of these are at record high levels in trade today. They did touch the record high levels in trade today. And now it's time for the Nifty Bank to be going up strong. Mitesh, to you. Of course, we've been discussing private sector banks, PSU banks as well. How are the financial services going to be participating in this leg of the rally within the Nifty Bank? Are you also looking at some of those?
Very interesting point, Saksi, which you have raised. But the fact of the matter goes like this: that in the market, be with the trend, and right now the trend is with the private bank. So I am of the view that let us not catch up those things which we have not, where the comfort is not there. Definitely, they will be a part of the show today or tomorrow. But the fact of the matter goes like this: that even if you look at the Nifty when it had hit an all-time high, and even today Bank Nifty, there is a one pocket within that particular index which is a laggard. So let's talk specifically about Nifty Bank today because it has hit an all-time high. The pocket which you talked about and the PSU are laggard today, despite the fact that Nifty is hitting an all-time high. So definitely the risk-reward ratio favors the NBFCs, the non-financial, the banks. Apart from that, the PSUs. So I will be keenly watching for this space which you have talked about, apart from the PSU bank. And as I mentioned repeatedly, that today is a day for only and only private banks. You will see a marathon run in the second half, and there are strong chances that probably we will hit that magical figure of 1,000 points on up move in Nifty Bank today. It is up by 700 points. So again, next 300, 400 points can be contributed by HDFC, Kotak Mahindra Bank, IndusInd, and ICICI.
Okay, fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Mitesh, for being with us on this very, very interesting session as well in the morning edition. And we'll continue to track all the stocks that you have highlighted for our viewers as well. Great way to close the morning edition of Market Today at record highs. The the Nifty Bank at 51,135 right now, 700 point of a move, a very strong surge, which has also lifted the Nifty to record high levels in trades today. Viewers, we'll wrap it up at that. With that, it's thanks from both Shail and me, but do stay tuned. The action will continue on the D Street, and I will be back at 12 noon for the Daily Call Show, which addresses all your stock-related queries. So stay tuned.